Luka Nation. You guys could probably see the smile on my face, and that's the smile of sports are back. That's the sports are back smile. What would humanity do?
There's wings on my face, they could see. I just had a couple.
Followed up with soda, which I think is like, does that ever like the hot sauce and the carb? Because you know they use Coca-Cola to clean toilets. Have you heard that before?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
That's the whole thing. You tell me, was there a point to that, or?
No, I saw that like in a forum recently, or like maybe it was Twitter, which is I guess is a forum, and I was like, that kind of like weirded me out.
You can clean a sink with Coke, yes, with the acids in Coke. You can use it, and you can definitely do it. But hey,
and that doesn't weird you out, like knowing that fact.
No, mine's Diet Coke, so we're good. Plus, I went with Diet Pepsi today, so we're good. Not cleaning and drinking this one. Yeah. That was.
Do you remember? Those like Netflix documentaries came out on like how they treat animals in slaughterhouses. If you saw that, would you still be able to eat like Chick-fil-A or wings?
I watched all of those. There is very little in the world that will get me to stop eating Chick-fil-A. I'm just going to say that right now. As a matter of fact, I may just go get one now because why would you bring that up? I ate a couple wings because we're going to do an NFL preview episode, and I'm going to make a prediction that in the AFC East, I really don't care what happens to Josh Allen, but the defensive rookie of the year is Sauce Gardner, who has a Buffalo Wild Wings sauce named after Sauce Gardner. And if you didn't see that yet, I mean, it's time, man. It's time. It's NFL. How excited do you have to be? So, guys, we're going to do some predictions. We're going to do some bold predictions. We're going to do some hot takes. We're going to have some fun. We'll try to do like records. We'll try to have some. This is supposed to be fun, but the most fun that predictions bring is the ability for you to basically tell us we're wrong. So I've already posted, like before this episode, I've already posted on our page, and I sent a collaboration invitation to the Luka Tiger LeBron podcast page. I posted a cool little stat picture about the Eagles and the Cowboys. And we'll get up to that when we get to that division. But there's a post on there, little predictions, little talk about Jalen Hurts, and ask what your predictions are, what you think, and the like. And I want you to comment. And I want you to comment in there about what you think about our predictions today. Right? Is it Josh Allen's year? Is it Justin Herbert's year? Is it Patrick Mahomes' year? What do you think? Are the Bills winning their division? Are they not? What's going to happen? So let's hear what you have to say. Because what fun is doing a prediction show if you don't have people to tell you how wrong you are?
People tell me that either way, right or wrong. No, and let's be frank. I'm not the guy to listen to for football advice. I know my skills. I know NBA. That's my thing. NFL, I'm a casual. So just keep that in mind. Cage knows his stuff. I would say Cage knows NFL very well. I think we should start with Josh Allen, though. Because, okay, I'll give a little bit of a hot take. It was a conversation I was having with people right before this. Mm-hmm. This is a make it or break it year for Josh Allen in terms of the hobby. Mm-hmm. Last year, he was viewed as he had an incredible season. But if you look at the stats, rushing stats aside, his best year was as good as Mahomes' worst year. At a point last year, I think 2 different points, Mahomes looked terrible. Remember, like he was getting sacked and like he threw that weird pass. And I think in the Discord, if you look at the first 6 weeks, even you were like, "What is happening with this guy?"
Yeah.
So that's Mahomes' worst season last year. People are like, "What is this dude doing?" Josh Allen had his best season. And if you guys stop this episode, hit pause, and go look up the stats side by side, you're actually going to see at the end of the year, they were almost identical. You could block out the quarterbacks. So if that's alarming to me, there's a lot of big money in Josh Allen. What are your thoughts?
So let's stick in the AFC East, right? Because
I'll stick it into the AFC East.
A lot of big quarterbacks there, right? I mean, that's your AFC East. You want to talk about Josh Allen first, right? So a bunch of questions. Number one, you have 4 quarterbacks that people have invested in here. You have Josh Allen heavily invested. You have Tua that people think is going to explode this year. Tyreek Hill, the whole deal. You have Mac Jones. You have Zach Wilson, who today reports came out could possibly start week 1.
Yep.
So we'll see what happens there. Not 100% sure of it. So we're going to go through all those guys. We'll stick in that division. But my first question for you, it's a great one, right? This is a make or break year for Josh Allen. He has to do it this year for his cards to sustain the value they're at.
Yeah.
But that's like when you say, all right, Cage, let's go out there and win. And I say back to you, well, what's the definition of winning? So what does Josh Allen have to do? Is it all right for his Bills to win the division, finish 13-4, and then go deep in the playoffs? Does he have to win the AFC Championship game, even though he came real close last year, losing in overtime? Does he have to win the Super Bowl? Does he have to win the MVP? Like, what is winning for him?
So let's do the specific and then the eye test. Mm-hmm. So I think it's AFC Championship game and playing extremely well in that game. I think people are okay with a loss as long as it's like they went out like fighting. So I think that, and I think a better career stats than last year. Those two, improving individually and getting his team to the AFC Championship game. Super Bowl would be
okay.
That's probably.
But he was already at the AFC Championship game last year.
I think you can't take a step down. I think it's okay to equal it again. I do think that people are okay with equaling it.
Okay, so does Justin Herbert also have to do that?
Let's stay with Josh Allen. I think there's also the poise and improvement on the eye test. Is he not making the same mistakes he's made last year? Has he have better control of the offense? That's the eye test.
So remember now, guys, so let's just keep track. You have one quarterback that needs to make it to the AFC Championship game and play MVP caliber football for him to sustain his value to pass the eye test. So we already have one quarterback in the AFC. Okay. Does Tua need to do that? No. Does Mac Jones need to do that? No. Does Zach Wilson need to do that? No. But they're all in the same division. Yep. I'm saying the Bills win this division running away. They're going to be 13-4, if not more, because this division is garbage. And the reason why I made a joke about Sauce Gardner being, and I think Josh Allen is sort of a joke too. But I'll explain to you why. Sauce is going to have more picks than anyone in the world. This is a division where interceptions are abound. I could have interceptions in this division. You know, Josh Allen, Mac Jones, and Tua all finished with double-digit picks last season. You know, Allen tied for third most interceptions in the NFL. He had 15 interceptions last year. 15 picks. So the first thing I would say for Josh Allen to be successful, yes, team wins. Yes, he's going to win the division. Yes, he's going to go deep. But you can't throw 15 interceptions because those will lead to losses. Those will lead to you being eliminated in the playoffs. Those are mistakes. Those are not elite level quarterback numbers, nor is it that Mac Jones had 13 when they hardly asked him to even throw.
There's a game I don't think he even threw.
Tua had 10. Right? So these are guys that throw picks. They make mistakes. They're young. You're looking for, and Allen is not that young anymore. You're going to look for progression out of them. Tua has some increased weapons, but all you need to know about Tua, take a look at Twitter. And it's all filled with people trying to sell their Tua cards. Wouldn't you want to wait if you believed in Tua enough to buy his cards? Wouldn't you wait week 1, week 2, week 3 and watch him, go out there and unload and throw the ball to the cheetah? No one has any confidence. I think the best case scenario for the Dolphins is like a 9-8 season. And I think, believe it or not, Mac Jones guys, you better sell your Mac Jones crap now because I'm predicting them to go 7-10 this year. 7-10. This division, the Bills are better. The rest of the AFC is better. The Patriots haven't really reloaded in any capacity at all around Mac Jones. And you got the Jets, who I predict going 5-12, and they'll be lucky to actually win those 5 games. Jets
13-4,
9-8,
9-8,
7-10,
and
then 5-12.
Let me ask you, Bill Belichick's legacy. You want to touch on it at all? Does it matter, looking now that the dust has settled a little bit, who deserves credit for Brady's success? Have we overrated Belichick if Mac Jones doesn't take the next step?
I think they're both great. I think that Patriots team was on the precipice of going places without Brady, right? And Brady took Brady came in, and took a playoff ready team, and his first bunch of wins were based on that defense. Brady was a system quarterback. I know Brady guys are going to hate me for this. Brady turned into an elite level athlete and won a lot of Super Bowls.
I think Drew Bledsoe, if you guys remember, actually won the AFC Championship game.
He won
and then he started Brady.
Yep, went back to Brady. Yep, exactly. Yeah, I mean, listen, it is as much both. I don't think it takes anything away. I mean, you can make an argument that Brady going and winning in Tampa Bay takes a little bit of away and shows that it's Brady. But I don't think anyone's going to argue that Brady's the greatest. That doesn't take away from the fact that Belichick was a defensive mastermind and just, an excellent coach. That said, he's been unbeatable basically for, 25 years. eventually that talent has to, the Chiefs, as great as they are now, they weren't great. The teams that are great now, they go through cycles,
So then follow-up question on that.
No one's always there except the Jets.
As a GM, does he leave something to be desired in the sense that he never really supplied, except for that 2008 season, supplies his quarterback with any talent? And again, you're seeing that here. How much of that is Mac Jones's fault versus Bill Belichick, who's also the GM?
I don't say it's anyone's fault, but in today's day and age where you get no rope and everything has to go right and you have to be able to, continue to build and build and build, Mac Jones, I think, overperformed his talent level and his team's talent level last year. And I think if you're expecting Mac Jones to be a playoff quarterback, if you're expecting Mac Jones to even go back to the playoffs, which is what people are expecting from him, you're expecting him to have an increase in numbers. I don't think he's that guy. So I would be very nervous holding Mac Jones.
Alabama quarterback, very accurate. Let me just tell you the wide receivers. Tell me if you would invest in any of these. Devontae Parker, never healthy according to you.
He'll be great for a couple weeks for some fantasy team. Fool's gold right there.
Jacoby Myers, Nelson Aguilar, Kendrick Bourne, Ty Montgomery, and nobody.
Aguilar will drop the ball when he's supposed to make a big catch. Jacoby Myers is a great law firm. And,
And now we're Cage's favorite guy. People, you guys don't know it. I actually bought his NTRPA. You guys won't believe how much it cost. Michael Carter. Yeah. Worth taking a flyer on?
Not Second really. Year? The Jets have they got more running backs. The Jets, I don't know what they do. Right? It was LaMichael Perrine, then it was Carter. Now they got this other guy. And you're not going to figure it out until like week 5 which running back they're going to go with. It's going to be nightmares for fantasy owners there. Don't draft any Jets, let alone Jets running backs. They're going to be down in games. They're going to be splitting it up by committee. I liked Michael Carter, but the Jets, they just know how to ruin their talent. It's just what they do. Hey, AFC North. Here's a fun one.
Last real quick Belichick is incredible against rookie quarterbacks. He doesn't have any rookie quarterbacks in that division.
True. Very true. There's not really many rookie quarterbacks to speak of this year. AFC North, Lamar's going to go into the season without a contract. All right? And what do I say?
I know what this means.
What do I say about that?
Buy Lamar.
When you are playing for your money, the numbers are off the chart. It's 54 home runs with 30 games to go. It
reminds me of Luca Nation Network, if I could be honest.
You play for your money.
We play for our money. That's why we play hard. Apologize. Go ahead.
This is one of those things where it's weird, right? You want to go with data, you want to go with the analytics, but you also have to remember the NFL just every season seems to produce a situation where a team goes from worst to first in a division. And the Ravens last year, they were victimized by injuries. They were easily the most injured. I know the Titans played more players, I think, but high-profile injuries just every week, injury. Right. The fact that the Ravens finished at the bottom of the division, their 8-9 record last year is actually kind of a win, moral victory, as you like to talk, right? Last year, this division was the one that produced that worst to first with the Bengals. And, 2/3 of the way through the season, you looked at the division, you're like, the Steelers, they could make the playoffs. The Bengals, they can make the playoffs. The Ravens, they could turn it around. And if it wasn't for some, bad injury luck, they lost Lamar Jackson for 5 games. They lost Marcus Peters. They lost Marlon Humphrey. They lost their running backs, Dobbins and Edwards. And
literally like a week before the season started, right? Last year?
Yeah, just during the year and before the season. It did not stop for them. So now you have, we're making these predictions based on the health as we go into the season. You have a healthy Lamar Jackson, a healthy team. You have a Lamar playing for his contract. He feels slightly disrespected. Everybody else is getting guaranteed quarterback money like crazy. This is one of the few quarterbacks in the league who has won an MVP. We're going to talk about a bunch of quarterbacks. Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, Kyler Murray. We're going to talk about a bunch of quarterbacks who haven't won the hardware that Lamar has actually already won, yet he's not getting the money. He's not getting paid. This division is always tough, but I have the Ravens winning it at 12-5, going worst to first. The Bengals close, 11-6, but I have the Ravens winning the division. The Bengals will still be a playoff team just because they've added some great pieces, great offensive line pieces.
The Bengals?
Which is what we were talking about. Remember, I was like, add an offensive line. Don't add Jamar Chase. How'd that work? They went to the Super Bowl, right? They've actually built that offensive line around him, which is what you need to do for Burrow. I got the Steelers going 8-9. What did they announce? Mitch Trubisky is going to be their starter. I like him. I'll root for him. He's not going to be anything. The Steelers do not. And I like Najee Harris too, but they're playing in a very difficult division for a running back. Najee might have some sneaky fantasy value out of the backfield catching passes. If they use him on third down, they may try to keep him healthy and not do that. This is a team that's going to probably have a losing record against the Bengals defense, against the Ravens defense, against a decent Browns defense. I got the Browns finishing last at 6-11 in that division. This is a good division. Good football here. Ravens, Bengals at the top of it. Those are two very good teams. Either one could win the division. You have to make a call on this. I say
Chase
the Ravens.
Claypool, Deontay, any love for wide receivers on that end, or too much uncertainty?
In Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
No. Just because, I don't have any faith in the QB.
I don't know if you remember last year, Ben Roethlisberger, I don't think he could throw more than 3 yards, and those guys were decent. Do you think maybe it's
decent, if that's what you're going for, decent, sure. But I think they're going to lean on Najee. They're going to have to throw because they're going to be behind to these teams. But the good part about it is, Najee is probably the one you can lean on, because even though I think the Bengals and the Ravens are better than the Steelers, neither of them are the type of team that is going to blow out a Steelers team. Like, they seem to get into these games, this whole division, where they play to the level of the competition, and every game seems to be decided by 3, 6, 10. The Ravens a couple years ago would go out there and score 50 points to your 12. That doesn't seem to be the way that people are playing now. Everybody just seems to be, okay, we'll put up points, you put up points. We'll put up points, you put up points. So
probably
I'm not
the most balanced division on like every side of the ball, right? Like, even the Browns, who we haven't mentioned, I want to hear your take on this, is you still have Nick Chubb, you have Myles Garrett.
Yep.
What do you think? It's kind of awkward. 11-game suspension, right? Like, what do you do with this season as like the Browns coach and GM?
It's a lost season. It just is. Jacoby Brissett is not going to, be anything more than a placeholder for you guys. Deshaun Watson is going to come back. I don't know if they even play him at the end of the year, because why would you? The team will probably be like, 4-8 or something like that. I have him going 6-11. So what, you just get him into game shape and risk him getting hurt at the end of the year? I mean, it's almost one of those things where, unless everything falls in line for the Browns and they are playing out some potential wild card string there, I don't even think you play him. So it's, it sucks. Chubb will run the ball. The defense will do their thing. They'll win a couple games here and there in the division. They'll probably beat the Steelers once when they play them. But I don't expect much from the Browns. A lot of drama there.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. That whole offseason was, do we have them, don't we have them? When you have that and you can't prepare, that's difficult. You know what I mean? You don't know who your quarterback's going to be. You don't know when. You don't know. So,
do you know, or if he's suspended, is he allowed to practice?
I don't know the answer to that. I think he can. I'm not.
Put it in the comments if you guys know. But he's not going to get first team snaps anyway.
Correct.
Right?
Why would you?
Okay.
The AFC South.
Okay. Which is
all right. There's Colts, Houston, Titans, Jaguars, Texans. Yep. All right. So here's my bold prediction for this division. Best running back division in the league. Both Derrick Henry and Jonathan Taylor have over 1,900 yards rushing. Both of them.
You love Henry.
They both push for 2,000-yard seasons. Why? Because this division sucks, right? They don't have any great running defenses there against them. They're playing against the Texans. I mean, both of those guys played the Texans twice. They could both have 450, 500 yards just in their 2 games against the Texans. Then they play the Jaguars, who, a good defense. But keep in mind, I have the Texans going 5-12, the Jaguars going 6-11. That means you're going to have 2 fourth quarters for Jonathan Taylor and Derrick Henry where they're up and getting fed the ball. It's just give them the rock, let them go, and let's see what they can do, right? So I think it's funny. They have the 2 best running backs in the NFL, pure running backs. I'll get to Christian McCaffrey as we get into the NFC. But we have the best pure running backs there. Why not predict them both together? It's never happened. It's never happened, obviously, that 2 running backs in the same season rushed for 1,900 yards. It was close. Jamal Lewis, who had over 2,000 yards for Baltimore,
remember that?
Beast. He had 2,066. And that same year, people forget how good Amon Green was in Green Bay. He had 1,883. He came close to 1,900. So both ran for more than 1,880 in a season. No one's ever done 1,900.
It's crazy how cheap Jamal Lewis cards go for on eBay. Like, I've seen $20 PSA 10s of his that are numbered that don't even sell. Just to guys put a little perspective, like this is, I think he had over 2,000 yards, right?
Yeah. I mean, listen, there are Travis Etienne. Yeah.
Any thoughts? Older running back, typically. I think he might be 23, 24 years old. He stayed 4 years at Clemson, hurt last year. Any thoughts? I liked how he played at Clemson.
The difficult part for him, I mean, he was injured, is that the team's just going to be losing a lot. He's a straight up and down type running back. He, unless he has worked on the pass catching a bit, he's probably not going to be in on third down. And that's where you'd expect to be playing fantasy, a contributor to be for the Jaguars. I think they said Robinson may actually play in week 1. I know he's banged up. You don't know how many reps he's going to get, but remember, James Robinson's still there on the Jaguars. He was an undrafted free agent, but he had a heck of a start to the season last year before getting injured. So you got to expect a little bit of a committee there. Maybe Robinson gets the third downs, maybe Etienne gets first and second. I'm not a believer in running backs on losing teams. It's difficult. That's why you have the Colts and the Titans. They'll be in the top of the division. That said, this is a division that's going to beat the hell out of each other, and the rest of the AFC is going to beat up on them, right? So I have the Colts winning the division at like 10-7. Right? I got the Titans. Go ahead.
What do you think about Matt Ryan? Cards and him as a player. Like, this is kind of a really good spot for him, wouldn't you think?
Yeah. I mean, I like Matt Ryan, but he's the exact guy that's like, just not there. You know what I mean? And for cards, let's talk about cards. He'll have great numbers, but like people don't give any respect to Russell Wilson cards.
He's going to go different comp, and I want to see if you.
But he actually has a Super Bowl win. You know what I mean? And could have won too.
You know who I wanted to comp him to?
Who?
Drew Brees.
But Brees has a Super Bowl.
But Brees got a Super Bowl not in San Diego.
So.
But when he.
I mean, look, if this guy, you know who I'll comp him to? I'll comp him to Matt Stafford. That's a comp for him, right? Okay. A guy who has college success, who puts up numbers, but the difference is when Stafford got to the Super Bowl with his team, he didn't give up a 30-point lead, right? Ryan got to the Super Bowl. Had he won that Super Bowl, we'd be talking about him in a different winning in the NFL is a huge, huge thing. And now we talk about Stafford as, he was probably a Hall of Famer before, probably. Now he's in. Ryan, probably. He's got great numbers. He's been doing it for a long time, probably in, and a Super Bowl win turns an Eli Manning or Joe Namath into a surefire Hall of Famer, even though you might be a 500 QB.
Bro Namath. You said Joe.
Bro Namath. Bro Montana. Yeah, so I mean that one there, I get the Colts 10-7. The Titans, I have 8-9. They could go 9-8. It's not going to make a difference there. The one playoff team in this division is the Colts. Jaguars, like I said, 6-11. Texans 5-12. We round out the AFC with I think the best.
Real quick. Don't skip. Malik Willis.
Yes.
Underrated quarterback. Tannehill's got to be at the ropes. What do they say? Short rope, short leash. Anything to look out for Malik Willis?
I mean, that's a run-first defense team, right? Okay. So, Willis could come in if they start losing games and it looks like, it's one of those things and they look for, a surprise. I'm not sold on Malik Willis. There's a reason why this year's quarterback draft class was not, heavily touted, why nobody went and drafted an early QB. He's one of those guys that would have to show me. It's one of the things that makes me a little nervous about NFL cards in the coming year. The rookie class, the QB. I mean, are you getting excited about Pickett? You getting excited about Malik Willis? Not a lot of people are. Best division of the AFC. You could make an argument that the team I'm going to predict to come in last in this division and not make the playoffs, a playoff team from last year, is could also win it. So my hot takes, number one, everyone in the division finishes 500 or better.
Wow.
Not a losing team in the division, right? And you have to pick a team to finish last. And we're talking about Chargers, Chiefs, Broncos, Raiders, okay? You ready for this one?
Yes.
You could have a hot take that Josh McDaniels, he's finally ready to be a head coach. Josh Jacobs stays healthy, and he's got a high-volume workload, and he can actually stay healthy for a whole season, and he's a Saquon Barkley healthy, Christian McCaffrey healthy, Josh Jacobs type of running back, 1,000 type guy. You got the Raiders defense. You got Devontae added to it. If everything works out on paper, the Raiders are a very difficult team to match up with in this division. You guys know I'm a Raider fan. Derek Carr showed last season he's accurate. and he makes good decisions. Doesn't make a lot of mistakes. Adds in Devontae Adams. You have Renfro. You have Waller, one of the best tight ends in the league. You got to think this team should be pretty good. I mean, McDaniels was with the Patriots over the last couple of years. Not afraid to run the football. I think the Raiders can run the football, and they have a chance to be a very well-rounded team. And I see people predicting them, based on all the analysis I just gave you, to finish winning this division. I, however, have them finishing dead last in the division, going 9-8. And that's how crazy this division is, how loaded it's been. Since the merger of the NFL and AFL in 1970, never been a season where every team in the division finished with a winning record. We talked about this last year with the NFC West, right? And I said, hey, no one's going to have a losing record. There have been a bunch of seasons where teams finished 8-8. Most recently, the 2008 NFC East did it. Never been an instance where every team finished above 500. I think the Raiders can go 9-8 and be the worst team in this division because the rest of the AFC is bad. You have Mahomes, Wilson, Herbert, Carr.
Well, remember math? You can't solve for an equation with two different variables. Mm-hmm. This one was interesting. It has probably 15 variables, right?
Yep.
We'll get to the Chargers. The Chargers added a lot of talent on defense.
Khalil Mack, who hasn't been good since his rookie year.
Okay, so you have that. You have Russell Wilson in Denver. You have Josh McDaniels and Devontae Parker now. Mm-hmm. You lose Tyreek Hill in Kansas City. Yep. It's very interesting, this division.
Honestly, listen, I mean, I'm never sold on Justin Herbert. I don't think he's that good. I really don't. I've been saying that for the longest time. Well, I think his prices are crazy.
There's two different things that you say, and I want to clarify because I love when Cage gets on a roll. This looks like Lewis Hamilton behind the wheel about to finish a race. This guy is locked in. No, someone could throw a Chick-fil-A sandwich. It would miss Cage.
I would
catch it. No, it would hit the brick wall because he's locked in. He can't see it.
I'd catch it. Chick-fil-A.
He'd catch it. He'd smell it. Remember those commercials where it's like, I don't remember who, but it was like, remember these? Wait, you're not looking at me. You're looking at, okay.
Remember what? I'm looking for Chick-fil-A. Now you got me long. I got my head on a swivel. I don't want to miss it.
I don't know. There's this commercial where like the ball would come out of nowhere and people would just be like, catch. What was I saying? Oh, Cage, there's two different ways you don't believe in someone. Sometimes you don't believe in someone because cards are way ahead of their talent, but they're still very good. And there's other times where you think that their talent is overrated. Where do you put Justin Herbert? I know his cards have run. You really don't believe in him as the player?
No. And here's why. You ready? It's more the division, right? You love Patrick Mahomes. Can Patrick Mahomes win this division this year and win the Super Bowl?
Easily.
All right. So
relatively easily.
If he does that, Herbert is not doing that. All right. Russell Wilson, you love him. He's being added to a sick Denver defense. He's already won the Super Bowl. He's got Jerry Jeudy. He's got weapons. He's got Javonte Williams at running back. He's got a very good team, well-rounded team. Could the Broncos finish winning this division? I'm not saying win a Super Bowl, but could the Broncos win this division? Sure. The Raiders, I just made the argument. They made the playoffs last year, and the Chargers didn't, and the Raiders got better significantly. They added the best wide receiver in the league to an already potent attack. They also bolstered their defense. They added Chandler Jones, right? I mean, they may be, and this is not a stretch, I don't remember, they may be the best, most well-rounded team without any flaws in this division. I think the Chiefs actually happen to be the worst because their defense took a hit. They really didn't retool their offense, and there's only so much Mahomes can do. But I could make a legitimate argument that any one of these teams could finish first or last in this division. I think the Chargers are great. I think the Chargers, I'm predicting them, by the way, to go 12-5 and win this division. That said, I could also see them going 9-8. And that's why I can't put Herbert on a pedestal. Not to mention, I can't differentiate Herbert from Mahomes or Josh Allen or Joe Burrow or any of these other guys we just talked about. Let's go through it, man. Lamar Jackson, he could win the MVP this year. Josh Allen, he could win the MVP this year. He's got to go to the AFC Championship game. Mahomes, you think this is his year? He proves he can do it, right? He's the guy who's done it. He's going to get right back there. How can he not? Joe Burrow, he was in the Super Bowl last year. He's going to get back. They added an offensive line to him, and his whole team is great around him. The Raiders, they just added this. You got Russell. How many friggin' quarterbacks are going to go to the AFC Championship game? Can only
but
be
you
2.
said the Chargers. You predicted 12-5.
I do 12-5.
I think that's enough for Herbert cards. I think him getting to the playoffs is enough. He hasn't been there.
And that is, by the way, part of the biggest problem. His cards are already priced like he's Mahomes, like he's won the MVP, he's won the Super Bowl. I think on Herbert cards that if Herbert doesn't at least go to the AFC Championship game and finish in the top 2 of the MVP race this year, that his cards go down in value. Because that's what's built in.
What if he doesn't make a playoff?
You're talking about a monumental crash. If his team doesn't make a play, that's very possible. They start off week 1 against the Raiders. They're at home. They have a tough schedule. They have a tough division. This is what I'm saying. Herbert, he's tall. He's attractive. He looks the part. But guess what? Last year, when they needed to win a game, they didn't win the game.
He's attractive. It's your words. I didn't see that on ESPN or media anywhere.
Attractive to card owners.
Okay.
And he's got all the tools. He looks the part. But he's been there now a couple years and hasn't done it either year. And he could have done it last year and couldn't beat the lowly Raiders. Right? I mean, let's remember.
Whoa. The lowly Raiders are calling. What was interesting to me, and let me know if you're back, but what was interesting to me is, okay, so you have, like Cage said, the Raiders, who maybe had the best offseason, right? Chandler Jones, Devontae Adams, and Josh McDaniels all added. Big ads. The Chiefs are always the Chiefs. You have one of the best coaches in the league, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Russell Wilson, proven winner, adds to Denver. If I pick up what you're putting down when you get back with us, is there's the most uncertainty out of any of those 4 teams is the Chargers in that division.
Sorry, dude.
You're good.
Did
you catch what I said?
I did.
Is that fair to say?
It's 100%. 100% fair. 100% fair.
It's a series of talent that we hope will come together and do huge things.
Listen, this is why predictions are out there, right? People can jump all over this and tell me I'm a lunatic and that Herbert is the second coming. I think that it's a difficult thing to bet on because there's just so many things that have to break right in the NFL. And he's in the AFC. We have so many MVPs already. He's got to beat Mahomes in his own division. You got Lamar, right? You got Josh Allen, who people are anointing. And I only go at it this way. Herbert I would trade for him in a second on the Raiders. I'd love to have him as my quarterback. I'd be a huge fan. He's going to be the quarterback for the Chargers for a long time. He's going to make Mike Williams a fantasy stud this year. I think Williams takes a step and becomes their number 1 wide receiver over Keenan Allen this year. I think the Chargers are going to be great. I'm just you haven't seen anything really out of him. I mean, even Josh Allen, who's spoke of in the same breath, he did it last year. He got to that overtime game. You know what I mean? Like Joe Burrow, he had some success, right? Herbert he hasn't done it when he needed to. And don't get me wrong, Herbert had a great game against the Raiders. I mean, it seemed like every play was a 3rd and 19 make for a first down. It seemed like it was one of these just crazy, crazy things. And he put his team on his shoulders. That said, a lot of things got to break right. And he's one of those guys. Look at his prices. His prices are so high, right? I'm not even talking about potential injury, which happens in the NFL. And I'm talking about season ending, just nagging injury, right? It's the NFL. Everything has to break right. And this division is tough, man.
I want to ask you something. And I actually have an idea. So we're going to do, and Cage, you could veto this. I think we're going to do a 2-part series. We're going to do AFC today and NFC tomorrow.
If you want, I can run through the NFC really quick. I can do the AFC is the tougher one because the AFC has a lot of people that people invest their cards in, unless you got to go. It's fun.
I thought you have a hard stop, no?
20 minutes.
Okay.
So I
wanted to ask one thing though. This is the second round of Josh McDaniels being a head coach, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Just like we talk about a first-year quarterback, being a head coach is tough. Being a first-year,
oh yeah.
I know Sean McVay's kind of been like this pioneer of hey, I'm 23 years old, I can coach.
Yep.
But now you have Brandon Staley. Do you think it's a scenario with the Chargers where it's if they win, Herbert gets the credit. If they lose, they're going to pin the blame on Brandon Staley?
Yes. I think Herbert is so young that people will just, he'll have a lot of leash now. People expect a lot from him. It's sort of like Josh Allen. Allen's older, right? And Allen's had a couple more years to develop, and same type of scenario. I think, the reality for expectations may fall somewhere between where you and I are. You say playoffs. I don't know if him sneaking into the playoffs and winning the wild card at 11-6 with the Chiefs winning the division and then being eliminated in the first round is really going to help Herbert's cards. All right. I mean, it's possible. I think people are expecting more from him, especially individually as well. I think people with the prices they're paying are expecting, more. They're expecting the Josh Allen type of year. They're expecting him to have these, crazy numbers and go real deep into the playoffs. And if he doesn't, I just, we talk about momentum and cards and investing in cards. This is a huge year for Allen. I think it's an even bigger year for Herbert, because Herbert's cards have just done nothing but this, right? And he hasn't really done it on the field from a success standpoint to justify it. I have them going 12-5. I have them winning the division, but I have the Chiefs 11-6, the Broncos 10-7, and the Raiders 9-8. That's one game separating all of them. That's one bad punt. That's one fumble. That's one crazy bounce. That's one nagging injury. One pick. And the whole thing could be flip-flopped.
In my experience is what typically separates that, right?
I mean, Mahomes has had more experience in crunch time than anybody there. Russell Wilson's had plenty of experience. Derek Carr got some playoff experience last year. The only one in this division that has no playoff experience is Herbert.
Quick, are you going to the city tomorrow? I know this is like
I may.
If it doesn't rain.
It depends on dentist appointments, pal. If you really want to get into that,
I want to do a two-part series. So, guys, in the comments,
the only problem I have with the two-part series is my post is about the NFC East. It's about the Cowboys and the Eagles. But that's okay. We can split it up. That's fine.
I want to ask you if you've seen this. It's funny, man. If you are on the Facebook groups and Instagram too, how many quarterbacks are being sold today? Like, have you seen just an influx of?
Yeah, we didn't even get up to Trey Lance. We didn't get up. There's a lot of these guys. We didn't get up to a lot of these picks.
What's scary about that is, like, all of this hype cycle of the summer with these big quarterbacks, it shows that there's not that many collectors for these guys. You don't see a lot of really nice Mahomes rookie cards hitting the market right now, do you?
No.
Very few.
No.
But because
people don't want to sell them at the prices they're at now because they're not. But Trey Lance cards have never been higher.
Tua? Josh Allen?
Cards, Tua, people, I'm telling you, I was on Twitter today. People are dumping Tua. People do not want to hold Tua. And look, you know what's funny? You get a game one right there Thursday night. The top three teams for Super Bowl winning odds. You know who they are in the league right now? According to Vegas. I know Vegas doesn't matter to you and nobody cares. Vegas odds. But if we were just going to go on the Vegas odds, Rams,
Bills.
I mean,
is it not Chiefs?
It's the Bucks. But forget about that. Let's
just
even take the three out. Just use Rams Bills. Do you know what Thursday night's game is?
Rams Bills.
Bills. Right. So one of the two Super Bowl winning favorites will be 0-1. Now, if it's Josh Allen, if it's the Bills, and they go out there with a clunker, right? And Aaron Donald is hitting everybody with his helmet, and it just becomes one of those type of games, right? Do we have panic? Do Josh Allen cards start going down? Do people start, selling? I can make an argument, by the way, we didn't even get into it on this one, that Mahomes, the Chiefs finished last and missed the playoffs. Because that team did not do a good job of retooling. I know we love Reed. I know we love Mahomes.
Right.
But, their defense is maybe the worst one in that division.
You've been watching football for a long time. So you have, the talent of the supporting cast. You have the coach and you have the quarterback and offensive line. Right?
Yeah.
And they say football is won in the trenches. You want to throw percentages at this? How important – the Chiefs still have a good offensive line, good quarterback, good coach, terrible everywhere else, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
Is that enough, though?
Mahomes is great, but there comes a point in time where there's only so much he can do if his defense is just going to allow the other teams to score every time. And even if his defense is not the worst defense in the league, which they're not, in that division, you need a good defense because Mahomes, he's going to have to score almost every time he touches the ball because the opponents are going to score against his defense. You could like Herbert, not like Herbert. You can be low on him like I am or high on him like 99% of the collecting community are. Herbert's going to score on the Chiefs defense, right? Russell Wilson and that Denver offense, they will score. The Raiders have too many weapons. So that means that Mahomes has to be perfect because his defense is not going to be. And it's easier to be perfect when you have Kelsey and Tyreek Hill, right? Because you can't double cover them both. But this year, their defense is going to give up points. Kelsey's going to get double covered.
Well,
and do we buy Mecole Hardman? I mean, do we buy
Juju? I think Juju is a play.
Okay, maybe.
Juju Smith-Schuster has been a serviceable wide receiver.
Serviceable.
He's a big guy.
He's definitely a downgrade from Tyreek Hill.
He's different.
You will have to downgrade. You'll have to downgrade Kelsey. Because you knew going out there that a defense had to scheme for one of those guys. They don't ever have to scheme for Juju, right? They can always cover Juju. But now they can double cover Kelsey. Juju's going to have to beat you. So in years past, a defense would have to pick their poison. Are we going to let Kelsey beat us or are we going to let Tyreek Hill beat us? Because one of them is going to have single coverage. This year, they don't have to worry about Tyreek Hill, and they can double cover Kelsey every time. It's Juju Smith. That's the worst that the Kansas City put out there during the Mahomes era. That Juju's going to beat you.
So this isn't, and I wanted to do a 2-part series. I wanted to do the card stuff. Mm-hmm. Like I've been watching markets, and I know wide receivers don't get a ton of love, but like 2 markets I was really interested in was Juju Schuster is 2017, same year as Mahomes, and his silver, that's only silver that year, it's like $30-$40 in a PSA 10.
Yep.
That was one guy I was looking at. And Jerry Jeudy was another guy.
I like Jeudy.
Alabama guy. Mm-hmm. Russ is
I've talked about him a bunch of times. Because Jeudy, if you watch his Alabama footage, he's a machine.
I think you probably lean to Jeudy in that. Do you think that's a play?
Yeah, just because he's younger. He's younger.
Would you be looking at his cards right now?
I have a couple. I have a Contenders auto and a couple of other autos from Jerry Jeudy, yeah.
You never told me that. They're so down on your Jerry Jeudy
because they're
on Cage's depth chart.
I think Ian and I pulled that in a pack, which is why I didn't buy it. I think we just kept it. You know what I mean? Just because what am I sell it for $12? You know. I'll tell you. History doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. And wide receivers, it's tough, man. There was one wide receiver that had a great year. And everybody was buying his cards, and everybody thought he was going to be the wide receiver that was going to break the mold, and people were going to be able to invest in wide receivers because it was during the boom, and then he got hurt and didn't play a whole season.
Who?
He's somebody I'd be looking at because we already saw that his stuff can go up, and I think he's going to have a huge year. Michael Thomas, the Saints. He's back. He's healthy. NFC. It's NFC. We'll get there.
Do you care who the quarterback there is?
I think Jameis is going to have over 5,000 yards. Yeah.
What? You think Jameis?
No, I think they're going to have to. I think it's so. We'll get into it tomorrow. I'm not a believer in Jalen Hurts, but I'd be buying his cards now. Right? There's a big difference in the talent now. It's you did a decent job explaining it on the Herbert side. Let me take it one step further. I think he has talent more than a Jalen Hurts, more than a Jameis Winston. But I'd be buying Jameis and Hurts. I wouldn't be buying Herbert. Even though if I were building a team, clearly I'd want Herbert over Hurts or Winston.
This is how the math works in my head. Like Herbert is 5x more talented than Hurts and Winston, but his cards are 12x, 20x.
Yeah,
that's how.
Exactly.
Whatever the numbers, I think in that scenario,
Jameis's cards are dirt. He's going to have 5,000 yards, 30. I mean, I think if he could figure out a way to get the Old Bay seasoning off his fingers, and just boom, start throwing some.
Do you want mayo on his fingers? Because that's going to be slippery. He's not going to get it.
Remember, that's like crab seasoning, and he stole the crab legs. It's like there are nuance, there are layers to my humor, right? So, that's all the NFC.
Aaron Hernandez beat the shit out of some guy in Florida. No one heard about it until his all this shit happened, and then Jameis stole lobster legs, and that was like a crab legs. I was meaning to ask you.
Yeah.
So tomorrow is going to be round 2, guys. We usually do it one, but I wanted to do this justice. Did you watch the Manti Te'o documentary?
No, but I've seen a lot of people talking about it. I guess I should. The catfishing, fake girlfriend kind of thing. Yeah,
man.
I guess I gotta watch that.
So remember how that was told to us? Like he made up that he had a girlfriend.
Yes.
Somebody actually made an account and pretended that she was his girlfriend. Like they were talking over the internet.
Mm-hmm.
So he got catfished. But but he got the brunt of it fell on his shoulders. Like he didn't get drafted in the first round because of it, lost millions of dollars. Why is he the one to blame? Like
I don't know.
Like I'm
trying to pull it up now, but it's not.
If you can't figure out that you have a fake girlfriend, how can you be a leader in the NFL? Was that like the extrapolation of logic there? I felt really bad for him after watching that documentary.
You know what it is? It was one of the. I haven't seen the documentary, but anything that comes out that's going to be a distraction spooks teams. Whether it's Laramie Tunsil smoking with a gas mask, and what does that have to do with anything? You know what I mean? Nowadays, who cares? I think if you're not smoking weed, you're a weirdo, right? That's me. I'm the weirdo. So I mean,
so much. No, but like it was like, I just remember the news hitting when I was right after college. Like, was it 2013, 2015, 16? When was this?
I can't remember. It was later than that, I think.
It was late, but I was like, so what? This has no effect on his performance at all on the field, but it mattered. He lost millions of dollars as a result.
You ready for this? I just pulled up fantasypros.com just because I typed in Justin Herbert predictions. You ready for this? Predictions for your draft. Justin Herbert will produce over 50 touchdowns and will win the NFL MVP this year. From his first NFL start with no time to prepare against the defending Super Bowl champs, the Oregon legend has been a consummate professional under center for the upstart Chargers. Not only do I believe Herbert will be QB1 in 2022, but he'll leave Josh Allen in his taillights. Two factors. They failed last year, but that was because of their run defense and third down defense. They couldn't get the ball back to their electrifying offense. And this year they've added Khalil Mack, and that will be huge. Herbert still has his usual weaponry, but I believe his biggest upgrade will be more latitude at the line of scrimmage to change plays and improvise. Okay. So without getting into
inconclusive.
But look at the headline. He's going to provide over 50 touchdowns and win the MVP. That's what people are predicting for him. That's what the prediction is. So I think that if that's the prediction for him, and that's just one prediction, but I've seen that.
That's the earnings. That's the promise of earnings.
That's what the pricing of his
Apple's selling record amount of iPhones this year.
That's the deal, man. That is the deal. So that's where I am. That's why I'm nervous about Herbert. I am nervous on all AFC quarterbacks because only one can win. And I don't know who it's going to be. And no one predicted Burrow last year to be that guy.
We didn't even talk about really Burrow.
I said Burrow was underpriced, but only because of his injury, not because I thought he was going to get to the Super Bowl. You know? So
and tomorrow we go NFC, which is a little less exciting with a quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the NFC West, when we get into Trey Lance and Kyler and, you know, what's going on out there and Green Bay, it's going to be interesting. I will tell you this. Some of our QBs are going to be interesting, both AFC and NFC, just as a teaser. If you're a fantasy player and, you know, you like to talk about like wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2s, right? So that's the top 24 wide receivers. So you want to have a wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2. If you have a 12-team league, 24 wide receivers, each team should have 2 of those, right? Favorites for the Super Bowl for the last couple of years, favorites for the MVP for the last couple of years, Patrick Mahomes and the 2-time MVP, Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre, nice job, Aaron Rodgers. I don't think either of those teams has a WR1 or 2. I don't think the top 24 wide receivers from a stats perspective is on either of those teams. I can't come up with a name that finishes in the top 24 wide receivers on either of those teams, which is interesting because that doesn't mean I think either of them are going to have bad years,
right?
But I think they're going to have to be spreading the ball around all over the place. Because Kelsey might finish with top 24 numbers. But.
So here's why I love Reed. Like the Eagles are remembered because we had T.O., but we aren't remembered when we had like Freddie Mitchell. Remember that?
Yep.
And I think a good offensive coordinator, which in my opinion, there's no one like Andy Reid, it's not because all of these guys are incredible. Just because we don't know their name, sometimes I think it's more scheme than player when you have a coach of that nature.
Gotta be. LaFleur says he's going to be throwing a ball around. Just a little tease for the Packers. You know, I mean, we didn't even get to, like, you know, finishing up the AFC, you know, what we think about, you know, how it goes, you know, where it's going to be. But, I mean, I can tell you that the AFC playoffs, I have, just to wrap up the episode for you guys, I have the Bills 1 seed, the Chargers the 2, the Ravens the 3, the Colts the 4, the Chiefs the 5, the Bengals the 6, and the Broncos, 3 playoff teams out of that West. The wild card, I got the Broncos actually taking out the Chargers. And I have some problems for you Herbert fans there. A lot of people I see have the Chargers against the Packers in the Super Bowl. I don't think it's going to be, you know, crazy, but only one team gets the bye. I think it's going to be the Bills. I think the Broncos beat the Chargers. I got the Bengals taking out the Ravens and the Chiefs taking out the Colts. Then, believe it or not, I got the Broncos. The Broncos taking out the Bills. The Broncos are the killers this year. They got the Chiefs over the Bengals. I got the Broncos playing the Chiefs in an AFC West matchup in the AFC Championship game. I got Mr. Mahomes and his Super Bowl against Mr. Wilson and his Super Bowl. What do you think?
I think you're betting on an incredible defense, a proving winner quarterback with weapons surrounding him that are young and trying to prove themselves.
Remember, guys, this is a bold prediction show. If the Broncos get to the AFC Championship game, I think I'd actually be a little surprised, but I'm trying to be bold. But think of what's going on there. I mean, easily the Bills can beat the Broncos there. Easily the Chargers can beat the Broncos there. And the fact that we can say that and have these conversations about this is reasonable. This guy could win. This guy could win. This guy could lose. It just makes it harder for me to put any of my money in any of them.
Let me ask you something like this.
Yeah.
Because I'm with you. Like it's not that I don't like Herbert. I remember watching him in Oregon. The expectations are so far and removed. Would you, if you had the option, would you rather Herbert or Russell Wilson on the Chargers? Same team going into
for one season.
For this season coming up.
For this season. So it's a great question, and here's what I do. I believe in NFL streaks. I believe that the NFL runs in certain patterns, sort of what I talked about with the worst to first, where the Bengals were worst and they're going to go to first, and I'm writing that out and saying that seems to happen every year. The Ravens were worst and they're going to go to first. Can you name for me the last 2 quarterbacks who won the Super Bowl?
Matt Stafford.
Okay, and
Brady
stop.
on the Bucs.
So what do both of those guys have in common?
Were the Rams the last seed and then they were the first seed?
They both were teams that were real close and needed a solid quarterback on a new team in his first year on that team to put them over the top. Brady in his first year won a Super Bowl 2 years ago. Stafford took the Rams to a Super Bowl in his first year with a new team. And it wouldn't be nuts for Russell Wilson to join a team first year with his team.
You know how our content team knows where to clip now? It's when Gage tells them to clip it.
clip it. But so to answer your question, Russell Wilson on the Chargers might win a Super Bowl too. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, the team is close. I think Denver was close last year. Denver, shockingly so, was close last year. And I think you add a quarterback like him who can play, who is, you know, young players will follow him. You know, he's one of these calming presences. He's done it before. There you go.
I got to tell you, man. Well, this is a phenomenal episode. I love when you're in your zone. By the way, guys, we're on the 1 yard line. We'll see if Whatnot throws the Russell Wilson interception, but we are planning to have a Sunday morning.
We're days away. Whatnot? Where are you? Where not? We're going to change your name to Where Not.
Yes.
No.
Fueled by buffalo wings at Chick-fil-A. I don't
know.
Dude,
I'm already oven. I hope they're not burnt. Anyway, guys, that's half an episode. We'll bring back the next episode tomorrow of the NFC, where I get to crap on the Cowboys.
Thank you all for listening to another episode of Lucas, Tigers, and Bronzo My. I wanted to tell you about a new service that we have starting as of today, and I'm really, really excited to bring it to you guys. So, as a part of our partnership with SGC, we got 50 free submissions every single month. And many of you have taken advantage of that. And it's amazing that we could have the opportunity to 650 episodes, 675 episodes in, to go ahead and give back to our community. As people were sending those cards in, they asked, can we send 5, 10, 20 more cards to you guys? We'll pay for it, but we wanted them graded with SGC. You guys know SGC is turning cards around in 13 to 14 business days, have incredible customer service, and their secondary market values are going up day after day after day. And that's exciting for the hobby and exciting for the grading landscape. So we didn't want to just rush into it. We wanted to do it right. And what we did was I relocated here to Boca Raton, Florida. I opened up a P.O. box maybe 5 minutes away from SGC, and I will be hand delivering and hand picking up the cards. So you don't have to worry about anyone else touching your cards. It will be me, and I will update you every step of the way. So here's how it's going to work. I'm going to personally pick up the cards from a P.O. box, prep them, new card saver, new penny sleeve, and deliver them to SGC every single Tuesday. Why Tuesday? Well, it lets the stragglers over the weekend come back through on Monday and gives me a day to prep, and it basically gives SGC the entire week to work on grading those cards. Once your cards pop, only then at the end of the process will you be paying for the service. It's $25 per card, simple as that, and the turnaround times have never been faster. We're hearing right now 13, 14, less than 20 business days. So there it is. 9170 Glades Road, number 135 is the P.O. Box in Boca Raton, Florida, 33434. 9170 Glades Road, number 135, Boca Raton, Florida, 33434. Of course, you could shoot me an email or shoot me a text anytime, and I'm always available. Many of you already have my email. It's iamandrewgoldberg@gmail.com. or my cell phone number, 215-519-9154. Reach out with any questions. I could walk you through the process. I've hopped on the call with quite a few of you, and I'm happy to do that. Love you, Luca Nation.